In this video, I would like to give an introduction to nanotechnology. When it comes to things which are considered some of the greatest discoveries, the things which are massive in size, the things in which we use applied science such as incandescent bulb, automobile, aeroplane, computer. The technology or the science which is used is of the older versions where the scientists really take their time to find the new. But at last, there is a new one. It is called as nanotechnology. Nanotechnology is known as the technology of today. So let's see what is nanotechnology. Nanotechnology is the ability to construct items from the bottom using specific equipments. The term nano means dwarf. Let's see how small they are.
A nanometer is pretty small. One of the best analogies that I like to use is to compare it with a human hair. If you take a hair off of the top of your head, you can see that it's very thin. And now if you take something that's 100,000 times thinner than that, that's a nanometer.
Let me ask you a simple question. Why it is important to know about nanotechnology?
Nanotechnology is like technology on a really small scale.
That's an interesting question.
Well, nano small.
It's obviously small. From above conversations, it is clear that many do not know what nanotechnology is. What people know, it's small, but it is more than that.
It's awesome. It's complicated. It's beautiful. And it's infinitesimally small.
What scientists have discovered is that at the nanometer scale, everyday materials start to act in unimaginable ways. For Jeffrey Grossman, a UC Berkeley nanoscientist working with the National Science Foundation, that's exactly the draw.
The behavior of nanomaterials changes, or can change, when the size becomes so small when compared with a larger amount of that same material. When you have things that sort of start changing the way they behave, and now you have the ability to control that, it sort of opens up an entirely new phase space of material.
For the manufacturing of any material, a raw material is required. In the case of nanotechnology, the raw material is called as nanomaterial. Other than these, in the world of nanotechnology, there is nanoparticles, nanotubes, and nanoplates. Here shows the formation of a nanotube. Although nanotechnology is the technology of today, in ancient world people used nanotechnology not knowing it. Where the important ones are the Machu Picchu in Peru, the color-changing Lycurgus cup of AD 300, the pyramids of Egypt, and the anti-rust Damascus steel sword. The development of nanotechnology didn't shoot out at a stretch. It was divided into 4 generations. Let us see what these are. Mike Rocco of US Nanotechnology Organization describes about 4 generations. The first and the second generations is of a research period where time was spent to find its properties. The third and the fourth are using for them for its applications. There was a person named Richard Heyman who gave a head start for this life-changing technology. In 1959, a person named Richard Feynman, in his talk "There is Plenty of Room at the Bottom," described the possibility of synthesis of atoms. However, the term nanotechnology was first used by Norio Tanguchi in 1974. Eric Texter was the first person who used the term nanotechnology widely. The further development of nanotechnology were made possible by the invention of tunnel scanning microscope by Blund and Hendrich in 1986. There are many scientists who does researches using this technology. So let us see what they tell about it.
We call them optical anti-counterfeiting devices. Most of the people are familiar with it. So if you look at the device from one direction or another, you actually see different pictures coming out. The way these things are made is by using an electron beam lithography tool to create millions of tiny little shapes placed according to a specific design that will reflect light at different angles. So when you see the whole device, you actually get different pictures if you're looking at it at different angles.
Systems such as this one contain a tuning fork structure which is miniaturized. It's about 1 millimeter in size, embedded deep within a vacuum system. And these have been used to detect the forces required to actually push single atoms around. Using this tool, you can detect the force required to actually move an atom. You can also detect the force required to put a single electron.
Imagine what we can create. Now we can visualize atoms and molecules. We can create tailored nanostructures. We can create special molecules. These might perhaps be used in next generation solar cells. Maybe they'll be used in next generation computers. We could even create a nanoparticle which could target individual cancer cells with the chemotherapy drug. We've got the chance to create special molecules which might be able to be used to clean water, or nanostructures that might be able to be used to remediate lands. The possibilities are really quite endless. Just imagine what we could do over the next 20 years.
When you see the popularity of nanotechnology, you also may think that how it benefit to the mankind. So let us see its applications.
Cancer is treated with a wide variety of methods, but these methods are often as toxic for the body as they are for the tumor. Now, however, there is a way to enhance tumor cell death without adding toxicity in standard radiotherapy. Nano X-ray nanoparticles are incredibly small crystals, so tiny that 5,000 could fit around the perimeter of a human hair. These crystals are surrounded with a soft protective layer, minimizing unwanted interaction with the body, and suspended in a water-based solution. In nano X-ray treatment, the particle suspension is injected with a standard syringe directly into a tumor, where the nanocrystals accumulate and wait for activation. At this point, the patient that received nano X-ray has a major advantage over a standard radiotherapy patient. That's because during standard radiotherapy treatment, the body is exposed to X-rays. X-rays react with water to produce free radicals, which in turn destroy DNA and other molecular structures, killing cells. Unfortunately, these free radicals destroy healthy cells just as well as cancer cells, and radiotherapy is therefore limited by the healthy tissue's damage. But in nano X-ray therapy, standard X-rays activate the nano X-ray particles in the patient's tumor. The nanocrystals are optimized to absorb more X-rays and produce many more free radicals than water, damaging the tumor cell's DNA and cellular structure more severely than the surrounding healthy tissue. Because of the nanoparticles, the X-ray's effect is amplified and localized within the tumor, allowing for a targeted strike against cancerous cells. While healthy tissues receive the standard dose of radiation, the tumor dies much more quickly. Just one injection of nanoparticles can amplify several radiotherapy sessions.
Photovoltaic energy that's cheaper than fossil fuel. Oil-gobbling robots to clean up our oceans. New medical robots to revolutionise complex surgery.
We can manipulate the nanostructure of material surfaces so as to control how they interact with their environment. We're seeking biocompatibility in these materials in order to make structures on which we can get living cells to regenerate. In this case, bone and cartilage cells in a badly injured knee. If we get the structures right, these cells migrate to the scaffold, settle and proliferate. They secrete proteins that self-assemble to fill up the pores. With bone, bone and cartilage, or cartilage.
What happened to the scaffold?
It degrades into harmless chemicals that the body excretes.
We also work with layers on nanoparticles to create smarter anti-cancer therapies. We encapsulate the drug so it doesn't degrade too quickly.
So the Y-shaped molecules are antibodies, and these can help target the capsules towards cancer cells and help them penetrate inside. So when the capsule hits the target, it degrades and releases the drug.
Yes, timing of drug release is critical, especially for applications in the brain. We are developing implants for epilepsy detection and control. The idea is that electrodes within the implant will detect signals from an impending seizure and enable controlled drug delivery to act against that seizure.
The tricky bit's combining seizure detection with drug delivery, and in orthopedics, having cell and...
Like liquid electronics in your smartphone, embodying nanoparticles suspended in liquid that go where you want them to go. Capabilities like these, in the pipeline at RMIT University, herald a new generation of devices that will reassemble themselves at the touch of a keypad. Or nano-engineered nanowires, projecting material science into the new horizons of nano art, glowing from your wall.
This machine is like a giant instrument, a new telescope to an astronomer. Instead of using it to search for new cosmological discoveries, we're using it to explore the relationship between mathematics and physics.
In quantum computing, the fundamental unit of information is not a classical bit of 0 or 1, rather it's a qubit, a quantum bit, which can be in a superposition.
Superposition means that the system is in some mixture of the 1 state and the 0 state.
And as a result of that, when you have a string of these quantum bits, you get a multitude of possibilities. So if you have 2 quantum bits, you have 4 possibilities, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. Those all coexist. And a quantum computer can parallel process.
Considering all pros and cons, you may think that, is there any future for this? Yes, there is.
If we get it right, new freedom for people with epilepsy.
We can take regenerative medicine to a new level, enabling advances in nanotechnology to facilitate more effective bone, cartilage, nerve and muscle regeneration. We are at the initial stages of these exciting developments, but we are establishing a platform that could revolutionize these fields of medicine.
These are game-changing technologies. Not only are scientists working on applications for nanotechnology, they are also exploring ways to keep it safe for people.
Nanotechnology has given a new dimension for the science in this world where the new technology came from a small world whose complex nature make it challenging and interesting for the mankind.